What is up, everyone? Happy Football Friday. Um, yeah, this is a decent day today, I guess. Tired as hell from last night at the Bears Panthers game in Chicago. Um, it was a good time, anyways.
It certainly was the game of all time. Two fantastic offenses really just flashing their stuff.
But yeah, we got a lot going on today. We got Thursday night recap, and then special request by Mr. O'Malley here to have the Super Bowl and awards preseason recap moved up after the Thursday night game. And then we'll get the breaking college football news, big news, anyways. And then, of course, we got NFL news. And then tell you our picks for all the games. Logan will be on at some point, I think, anyways. But we'll wait and see. And here we go.
Alrighty.
So last night, Bears 16-13 over the Panthers. Panthers move into a tie with the Cardinals for the number one overall pick. Panthers actually have the number one pick right now based off strength of schedule. But Cardinals still play this week, so they haven't had their bye yet. Anyways, yeah, didn't like the decision making in this game for Coach Reich. There was a 4th and 5 earlier in the third quarter that I thought I would have went for it if I was him, because it was right around the 50. I think it was like on the 46-yard line of Chicago. And I was like, bro, I would have went for it. It's 4th and 5. Bryce Young was clicking at that point. He had completed, I think, like 5 straight or something like that. So I was like, he's hot, and why not? I mean, it's not like it's a long situation. It's 4th and medium. So I think I would have went for that. They ended up punting it. I think that was one of the ones that Johnny Hecker downed inside the 10, maybe, but still, ended up coming back to bite him, because then, you get to 4th and 10 at the end of the game. And again, I would have went for that one too, because the probability of winning if you convert 4th and 10 versus the probability of making a 59-yard game-tying field goal, I think your probability of converting a 4th and 10 is higher than making a 59-yard field goal with what the conditions were at that point. Especially because, granted, I don't know how this happened. It was very odd that Cairo Santos barely hit a 49-yard field goal. Then they got the false start penalty. And then he smacked a 54-yarder. I was like, bro, how do you just like I don't know, crawl one over the goalpost, and then from 5 yards back, further back, you hit it and make it by like 5 yards? It just didn't make sense to me.
My guess is that he the first one he gauged the wind. He was like, okay, and then the second one he's like, okay, I know the wind patterns, I know the angle, let's just hit it harder. So first one he was probably like, I need to be more accurate, and I don't know what the wind's like. Second one was like, well, I know my angle, I know the wind. It's only 5 more yards, so as long as I keep the angle just a little more force, I'll get it. That's probably what it was.
It was just very odd watching it live. And I was like, I don't know how that happens, but yeah. And I mean, Eddie Pinheiro for the Panthers has a decent leg, but I don't know what his career long is. I don't believe he's ever hit a 60-yarder. So again, I didn't like the decision to kick at the end there.
Yeah,
But
my thing too is like if you're thinking of kicking, why aren't you playing shorter play on the third down play? Like,
right.
why aren't you going like, all right, like I'm if we get close, like let's say we get 4th and 3, I might go for it. But if it's like 4, like we just need yards just because like we're leaning field goal to tie it. Like, what's wrong with a run up the middle to just get a couple yards, maybe burn some clock so if like Bears get the ball back, they don't have a chance to come down and take the lead and win late in the fourth quarter. It was one of those games where you just look at a coach like Frank Reich who has a pretty decent history, and you just think like, what are you doing, man? Like none of your choices made a lot of sense, especially down the line.
Yeah, so Eddie Piñeiro's career long is 56. So they
Yeah.
were trying to hit 3 yards more than what he had hit previously.
Yeah, this is one of the worst coaching decisions I've seen in a long time. It just felt like any wrong decision in the fourth quarter that Frank Reich could have made, he made. It was not pretty.
Yeah, and I mean, you're on a 15-play, 50-yard drive, eating up 5.5 minutes of the clock.
Yeah.
But no, like you said, I was saying the same thing when I was watching it live. I was like, all right, let's just get like half here on third down, get it to like a 50, get it to like the 34 or 35-yard line, and then it's just like a 54 or 55-yarder.
Yeah. And then he wastes the timeout too on that drive. That like really hurt them.
I agreed with the third down timeout. Because you're either going to go and win the game or go tie the game. That's like what your mindset is on that drive. And so if you don't have a good play, and it sucks because on the third down play, I saw what Bryce Young saw. I was watching. When they lined up, I was like, bro, Adam Thielen's open. Before the snap did, I was like, bro, Adam Thielen's going to be wide open because no one was in the middle of the field and he was rolling in the slot and they were blitzing. However, I did not, like Bryce Young, I did not see TJ Edwards was about to drop into coverage underneath that hook route. And luckily for Bryce, he didn't get picked off. But, I thought it was a good play call on third down. Just didn't work out. But I don't fault Bryce. I think despite the, lack of statistics, I thought Bryce looked miles better than he did last week against the Colts. He was facing probably about the same amount of pressure, if not maybe a little less than he did against Indy last weekend. But I thought he looked pretty poised most of the night, made the right decisions. And obviously you can see no turnovers, which had been the big bugaboo for him. And his receivers didn't help him. There were at least 2 drops that I remember that could have been first downs. One by Terrace Marshall, one by Hayden Hurst. So it's really tough on your rookie quarterback if your receivers aren't catching balls when he throws it right to them. So,
yeah. Okay, and I mean, off season for Carolina, you really just gotta figure out skill position like improvements.
Oh, yeah.
You got rid of DJ Moore for Bryce Young, and now, I mean, Adam Thielen's been solid. I think he's been better this year than he was in his last year in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, other than that, it's kind of been a mismatch of just like, island of broken toys. Like, you need to look into the free agency. You need to look later in the draft. Maybe even look into maybe trading up back into the late first round and maybe snatching a Ibuka from Ohio State. That would be like, if I was Carolina, I'd see if there was even a possibility. Like just being like, okay, because every time I see a mock draft, Ibuka is around like the 24 to 30 range. So I'm thinking if I'm Carolina, I'm like, okay, can I sneak back in and get that, late first round pick and try to get Ibuka and give Bryce Young something? Because I mean, and you got to start looking at free agents coming up.
Yeah, it also didn't help. DJ Chark was out for this game, so there was one less receiver that he had. So, but yeah, Bryce Young here, 21 of 38, 55.3%, 185, 3 carries for 18 yards. Tyson Bagent for Chicago, 20 of 33, 60.6%, 162, 6 carries for 12 yards. The one Chicago Bear I was rooting for all night was Deontay Foreman because I had him starting in 2 leagues. So 21 carries, 80 yards, a touchdown, 2 catches for 12 yards. He had a solid 17.2 points. It's a fantastic night, fantasy-wise for him. DJ Moore led the game in receiving, 5 for 58 on 9 targets. Adam Thielen, double-digit target night, 6 catches, 42 yards on 10 targets. And then defensive player of the game, I'm going with Bears defensive tackle Justin Jones. 3 tackles, all of them solos, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, 3 QB hits. Derek Brown, though, I will say, had a great night for Carolina. This is probably the best game I've seen Derek Brown play in a while. Then he really needs to start playing well because we drafted him in the first round for a reason, and he really hasn't had – I mean, he's had a couple decent seasons, but not worthy of the selection that we used on him. And, of course, also got to mention Amir Smith-Marset, the wide receiver for Carolina, 79-yard punt return touchdown, the first score of the game, which was awesome to see in person.
Yeah.
Panthers plus 3.5, covered by the hook, under 39.5. All right, Super Bowl and awards recap here. So, this is what your AFC bracket was. The records are a little skewed with the formatting of StreamYard, but
yeah, just if you don't get it, just put a 1 before every.
Yeah. So yeah, Bengals. How are you feeling about the Bengals at the 1 seed right now?
If you asked me 3 weeks ago, I would have been terrified. But the last 3 weeks, they've been really good. Joe Burrow has really gotten out of his funk. I don't think they get the 1 seed. I think Chiefs will probably hang on to it. But I really like the Bengals' chances in the playoffs. I think they're definitely playing a more cohesive game. And I mean, the last 2 weeks beating pretty quality teams in the 49ers and the Bills, I'm psyched about the Bengals' playoff prospects.
Yeah,
and
even win their own division with how that division's shaping up right now.
Yeah, that division's nuts. I mean, I had 3
the only team from the AFC North you don't have is the division leader right now.
That's wild because I was like, ooh, this is gonna be a tight division. But like I was a little concerned with the Ravens because of just like their insane injury history.
Mm-hmm.
But like the last 2 weeks, they're like, oh yeah, these injuries mean nothing to us. We're gonna go out there and ball. So I mean, good for them. I mean, at least I think all 4 of them are qualified for the playoffs as of this moment. So I'm not completely wrong at the moment. But
yeah. So as the playoffs stand right now, the only team you have out is the only like you said, the Ravens are the only team, or no, the Ravens and the Dolphins are the 2 teams you're missing here. Buffalo and the Jets are not in the playoffs right now.
Yeah, I don't have any hope for the Jets anymore. I mean, unless Aaron Rodgers' weird Achilles recovery continues to be insane. But I still have hope in the Jets. I mean, not the Jets, the Bills, because I think they just have too much talent not to make the playoffs. And I think that's kind of what, to me, puts them above a lot of other teams. It's just they are a talented team. They got good players. They have decent coaching. I think they've kind of had their, that just skid that the Bengals had at the beginning of the season. They're within theirs right now. But yeah, I mean, I still believe in the Bills. I don't think they're going to win their division. I think Dolphins are probably going to take it, unless the Dolphins continue to lose against good teams. But yeah, I think the Bills will probably get back into it. Jets, though, nah, I've given up on them.
Yeah, so as it stands right now, Chiefs 1, Ravens 2, Jags 3, Dolphins 4, Steelers 5, Browns 6, Bengals 7.
All right.
Ready to move in?
Let's go NFC. Let's see what we're looking at. Hey, yo. And if you asked me 3 weeks ago how I felt about the San Francisco 49ers, I'd feel great right now. They're on the tough skid. I mean, it's very clear that Brock Purdy is either A, very injured with the concussion, or B, has been exposed, or a combination of both. I think he's going out there not at 100%, and it's very clear. But buying Chase Young at the deadline, I think, is going to continue to just, create a defense that is just scary to play against. Eagles, easy number 2 in this. And honestly, you've seen my prediction. I had them both 13-4, so it's kind of just a flip-flop for me. So I had the Lions, I'm glad to see the Lions. Vikings, I'm holding out hope. Josh Dobbs, a pastronaut. He's gonna lead the comeback. Saints are leading their division. I was not surprised at that. Seahawks and Cowboys. I mean, I think all these picks can still make the playoffs. And
you have all 7 playoff teams currently.
I'm feeling good about that.
And you have the Seahawks and Cowboys exactly right.
I feel good about that. I mean,
and the Saints, Seahawks, and Cowboys. All right, 4, 5, 6.
All right. I mean, hey, 7 of 7. I'm feeling good. And I mean, anything can happen. I mean, San Fran can go on a run and figure it out. Eagles can drop a game or 2. Vikings could go on a wild streak. Who knows? I mean, everything's looking good. I'm feeling confident in the NFC. I knew I wasn't confident in the AFC. I don't really pay attention too much in the AFC, being a fan of the NFC team. But yeah, I mean, hey, I'm looking good right now. Just, I don't care if they don't fall into place. I mean, if I get 7 out of 7, I feel great.
And this is your AFC NFC Championship Super Bowl. So Eagles, Niners over the Eagles, Bengals, Chiefs, Bengals over the Chiefs, Bengals beating the Niners in the Super Bowl. How are you taking that right now?
I think these are probably the 4 most complete teams in the NFL. I mean, the only thing that I worry about is the 49ers. I'm relying on them to get out of this weird skid that they've been on. But I have full confidence that they probably will. They just kind of like the Bills, what I was saying earlier. They just have too much talent, both in the coaching staff and on the field, to really continue this weird skid. Like, I would not be surprised if I was right on all 4, because, I mean, Bengals have been streaking. The Chiefs are the Chiefs. The Eagles are the Eagles. And 49ers, I expect they get back into the winning ways. And they have a great roster that in the playoffs has shown to be really good. I mean, last year they made the NFC Championship game with basically every QB known to man dying on that roster. So, yeah, I mean, I feel good about this. I think the Bengals, I think the Bengals are still my favorites. I think they always have a weird early season skid, and they've really recovered from it, and they just look dominant. And I think they'll continue that into the playoffs as long as everyone stays healthy. I haven't seen any big injury news out of their camp. Honestly, out of all 4 of these teams, I have not seen any injury news. So
T. Higgins.
T. Higgins, yeah, I saw it wasn't huge though. It's kind of I don't even think they put him on IR.
He's week to week right now.
Week to week. So I mean, yeah, I'm feeling good. I feel great about this.
Yeah, I mean, the Eagles, they have some injuries piling up now.
They are.
Dallas Goedert, Nakobe Dean, both out for a little bit, but
yeah. But you look at those injuries and you think oh, okay, they'll be on the IR. They'll be available probably late season, at least for the playoffs. Mm-hmm. So yeah. It's not like a Kirk Cousins situation where Dallas Goedert tore his Achilles. It's okay, broke a bone in his arm. 4 weeks IR. If you need him to rest in our week, you can afford it because Eagles have a great roster. They're one of those teams where they could lose. I mean, they could legitimately lose AJ Brown, and you'd be nah, they could still make the Super Bowl.
I wouldn't say that, but
they still could. I mean, Eagles made the Super Bowl without Carson Wentz when Wentz was in the middle of a MVP season. So Eagles are a tough team, and they're incredibly deep at basically every position, on the depth chart. They could lose a starter at basically every position other than quarterback, and I'd be yeah, they could probably make the Super Bowl.
Alrighty. I was hoping that Logan was going to be here to break down his picks. I forgot to say, did you want to change anything on yours?
Do I want to change? I would say the one thing I would change is just flip the seedings for 49ers and Eagles. Eagles
Yeah.
1, 49ers 2. But I feel confident. I think the Bengals will eventually take number 1. I think the Chiefs might dip. But yeah, I that would be the only thing. I'd keep all 4 of them. It's just Eagles would probably take the 1 seed in the NFC. They've got a good cushion right now, and I don't see them dropping it, barring insane injuries or just wild upset losses. So yeah, I mean, that would be my only change is just flipping Eagles and 49ers. But I still think the 49ers might take them.
Gotcha. Well, here's Logan's AFC bracket. So he is also out 2 right now. Chargers, Bills not in currently. Ravens, Ravens and Steelers, 2 that he's missing. But yeah, I mean, he's got the Chiefs right at number 1. He's got the right division at number 2, just not the right team. And then let's see, he's got the Jags right at 3, Dolphins right at 4. Browns 1 spot off. They're in 6th right now. And then, like I said, he doesn't have the Chargers, and the Bengals are 7 currently. So same boat as you, 5 out of 7, right? Currently. I still believe in the Chargers. I'll talk more about that when I get to my bracket, but I still have a big time faith in the Chargers coming up, especially since they just got to 500 this past weekend. I think the Chargers are coming. But anyways, you have anything about Logan's AFC here?
The only thing I have any contention with is probably Dolphins at number 4. I think Dolphins are at best a wild card team at the moment. I think, especially with that showing against the Chiefs, and I think I saw a tweet that said they don't have a win against a team currently over like 500.
You just said the Dolphins were going to win the division.
You know what? I'm gonna have to take that back, man. I think Bills are gonna come back and take it. I don't have a lot of faith in the Dolphins, especially after this last week. I would probably flip Dolphins in my bracket too. Just flip them probably with the Bills because I think Bills are going to come back and play well. But yeah.
Okay. NFC bracket here. He is not on your level. He has one. He has the Falcons in, and he is missing the Lions currently, who hold the number 2 seed in the NFC. Falcons are close though. They're number 9, so he's not too far off. But yeah, the Vikings are a little bit of ways from winning the NFC North.
I mean, they're not out of striking distance, but yeah, we're a little bit out.
1.5 games, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're sticking around. That's all you can really hope for at this point. Is just after starting the season 0-3 and then 1-4 at some point. If you told me 4 weeks after going 1-4 and losing Justin Jefferson to the IR, we'd be a game and a half out of the division, I'd be like, hell yeah, I'll take it. That's awesome. But yeah,
I think Logan wants to take back the top 2 seeds in his bracket, probably. Maybe he doesn't want to take the Cowboys out yet, but I would assume he would like to take the Saints out of the number 1 seed.
Yeah, 15-2 is absurd. Like, he put a lot of faith into Carr. I think he thought Carr was going to come back to his like MVP Raiders days. But like, I don't know, did he predict the whole Alvin Kamara like thing, and with Michael Thompson also not really being healthy? Because I mean,
I have a lot of faith in the Saints too, as we'll see, but
yeah, I mean, I still had them winning the division.
Not that much.
Yeah.
But yeah, so pretty solid. 6 out of 7 currently in, and he doesn't have. Oh no, he's got the Niners right at 3. That's the only one he has exactly right. This is Logan's championship Super Bowl. Cowboys over the Seahawks. 2 versus 6 matchups. Bengals over the Chargers, and then Bengals over the Cowboys. So I think it could still happen. This could still happen.
He needs a lot of things to go right, but
I just don't think the Seahawks are that kind of team right now.
Yeah, I don't think Seahawks have just over the top talent. I don't think they have they don't have a like Jalen Hurts or Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow to just like really put them over the edge. Geno Smith is a very solid quarterback, don't get me wrong. And they have a very solid team, but when it comes to winning in the playoffs, you really need over the top talent at key positions like quarterback. And Geno's not bad. He's not going to elevate his play, when the time comes.
Yeah, so we'll see if Logan makes it on, see if he recants on any of his championship or Super Bowl picks. But we're going to let it sit and simmer for now, just to wait and see. Let's go to mine. So here's my AFC bracket. I'm still rolling with it. I like every single team where they're at right now. I am the same though as Logan. I am and you. I'm missing 2. I had the Bills, Chargers in, missing the Ravens and the Browns. But I'm fine with it. I'm still on the Dolphins train. I don't care. They've lost to the Bills and the Chiefs in the AFC, lost to the Eagles in the NFC. So that's okay. Dolphins will be back. They're on a bye. Get it figured out.
And they have a pretty team-friendly schedule coming up. I mean, they have Raiders, Jets, Commanders, Titans, Jets for the next 5 weeks. So for me, like the final 3 weeks will really determine how real the Dolphins are. Because I think they can honestly go 5-0 in the next 5 weeks. I see no team in the next 5 weeks that can really put up with their offense. What up, Logan? We're talking about the Dolphins.
Hello, guys.
Yeah, so this is my AFC bracket. Logan, we'll run yours back real quick. Just ask you if you have any changes to or how you feel about your AFC, NFC brackets, and then your championship Super Bowl picks.
Sure. I feel pretty decent about it. One team on there that I'm surprised I ended up omitting in preseason is the Ravens, who honestly to this point are one of the more impressive teams to this point in the season. So if I had to change, I'd probably swap out, Browns Ravens, but they'll go head to head this weekend. So we'll see kind of how that plays out.
Yeah, we all 3 missed 2 on the AFC side, and we all missed the Ravens.
And I think we all had the same assumption that, they're coming off a lot of injuries, and still with a lot of injuries on the team. We thought and it's a tough division. Every other team in that division is a really good defense.
And the other team you're missing is the Steelers there.
That's still us.
NFC wise, one team missing is the Lions for the Falcons there.
Yeah. I feel okay about it. I was shocked when I did kind of like my playoff profiler thing, and I had the Saints at 15-2. But I just ran with it because I was like, look, it is what it is. I don't want to go messing with it. I think that I feel good about the Saints winning the South. I don't feel good about them obviously getting the 1 seed. But yeah.
There's your championship Super Bowl picks.
Yeah. This one, I feel good about the Bengals right now. It feels like they got a lot of their mojo back. I think they're going to be, if they stay healthy, they could be, a really scary team. I also do feel good about my Seahawks pick because the NFC is just really, it's the way I see it, there's kind of like 4 teams, and then it's just like everybody else. It's the Niners, the Cowboys, the Eagles, and the Seahawks. So and they've been kind of living up to it. I haven't seen enough from the Cowboys as much as I wanted to justify them being here. I need to see them pull out more of these important games against these, teams that are above 500, get some of these road wins if they're going to be making a bigger playoff push than what we've seen in recent years, which is kind of a one and done usually. But we'll see. I think it's a decent. I feel okay about where we're at halfway through with it.
Yeah, the Seahawks was the one that I said that I thought you would take back out of the 4, but
I mean, if I had to take back, I'd probably supplement it with like the Eagles or the Niners right now. But I think the Seahawks are in that top 4 conversation. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're in the championship game next year, depending on how the seeding works out for this year.
So you are sticking with Cowboys Bengals Super Bowl. All right.
Gotta respect a man of integrity.
Yeah, so as I was saying, this is my AFC bracket, like it still. I'm not changing anything. Still have total confidence in the Dolphins. Bengals are rolling. Chiefs, of course, have the best record in the AFC. Jags are easily running that division right now. Bills are out right now, but I think it's going to be okay. I think they're going to figure it out. Steelers, they win. It doesn't matter how it looks, they win. So whatever. And then like I said, total confidence in the Chargers that they can make a run and get to the playoffs. There's just too much talent, even with the injuries at wide receiver. I don't think it's going to matter. Austin Eckler to the moon. NFC wise, yeah, this is not very great. Missing 2, the Lions, and the Vikings. Yeah, not very good. But hey, you know what? I guess I'm on with Logan on the Seahawks because I had them at number 2, and they're right there. The Niners are 1 game back from the Lions on the 2nd seed, and the Seahawks had the same record at 5-3. So, just not in first place in the division based off division record, I believe. So we'll see. Niners got to play the Seahawks still. I think twice. Could be wrong, but yeah, the Saints I liked. The Packers are not going to do well, but so yeah, Actually, if I was gonna change, obviously I'd put the Lions in. Maybe I'd put the Vikings in, but I would probably more likely go with someone like the Falcons instead, as 7 seed than the Vikings. Even though the Vikings just beat the Falcons, doesn't matter.
I still have hope.
Yeah. So Saints. I mean, why not the Saints? Why can't they still get there? I think especially, as it stands right now, right? First round, they're playing the Seahawks in New Orleans. I think the Saints could win a defensive battle in that game, shut down Geno, and I think they could win that game realistically in the Superdome. And then, how it would play out from there. They're the 4 seed, so they would more than likely. I would probably say they'd. Well, see, if they're the 4 seed, this scenario doesn't work because
Well, that's unless like
they would more than likely go to Philadelphia because I think right now I would have all 3 division winners winning in round 1. So I would need a wild team to win for them to go to Detroit.
Yeah, and the thing about New Orleans, and I think you kind of pointed it out with your wild card description, the Superdome is probably one of the best home field advantages in all of football. Like that is a very unique stadium, and Saints fans are fantastic and very, very loyal to their team. So like just making the playoffs and getting a division, you gotta think like even if the 5th seed is like the Seahawks or 49ers, if they drop the division to Seahawks or just about anyone, I would say Cowboys would probably be the most likely scenario. You got to think like, okay, they might have 1 or 2 more wins than us, but like we have one of the best home stadiums on the planet. And then going from there, I mean, if you win 1 playoff game, you got to think you can win another, even if you're not back at the Superdome. So I got to agree with you there. I think as long as the Saints win the division, they could be 2 or 3 wins less than the 5th seed, but I still think just playing in the Superdome is a massive advantage for that team. Like that is a difficult place to play.
Their best playoff hope to get to where I have them in the NFC title game is, like I said, to have that home game, win the division, and to go to Detroit. I think Detroit is their best opportunity to get a win out of the current division leaders that they would have to go to. Obviously, the other one being Philadelphia is the number 1. So, but yeah, I'm sticking with mine. I like my Final 4, especially on the AFC side. Like I said, love the Dolphins still. Bengals are rolling as well, and of course the Eagles are doing what the Eagles do. So I like my Super Bowl still, and I am sticking.
I don't disagree.
Awards. So here we go. So it was Logan, I believe, with the Pete Carroll selection.
Yeah. Oh no, I think I picked Pete Carroll.
Was he you? Let me see.
I think I was Pete Carroll.
Let me see.
Yeah, I picked
You were Pete Carroll, sir.
Yes, sir.
5-3. 5-3 right now.
Sticking around.
You still like your pick?
I mean, why not? I mean, I like McDaniels. He's a great guy, great coach, great personality. But like I said earlier, if he doesn't show that he can coach a team that beats other really good teams, then there's a ceiling. And I think voters will see that. Like, I think Pete Carroll objectively has a not as good roster as Mike McDaniels does. So I think when you come to when it comes to voting for coach of the year, it's not just coach with the best roster. It's who's the best coach, who coaches his roster well, who emphasizes strengths and mitigates weaknesses. And I still gotta go with Pete, man. He's been a great coach for about a decade, and I see no reason why he can't still compete for this award, especially if he can steal that division from the 49ers and Kyle Shanahan. I think there's an argument.
Pete Carroll's currently 12th in on DraftKings odds wise.
Hey, who doesn't love an underdog?
Dan Campbell, of course, is the favorite. Logan, you and I think should stick with McDaniel. He's currently second in odds to win. And like I said, I still am totally confident in the Dolphins.
Yeah. I mean, I feel good about that. I mean, I'm kind of shocked that Carroll is that low, for sure.
Well, there's
because I do think
shiny pieces out there.
What's that?
Like Campbell. There's a lot of new shiny pieces out there to look at.
Yeah,
though.
that's the thing.
Campbell, D'Amico Ryans. Those are really the two like newer guys. I mean, like Salah's up there, John Harbaugh, Sirianni, Kevin O'Connell, Doug Peterson, Mike Tomlin, Shanahan, Steichen, all ahead of Pete Carroll.
Really?
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I mean, it's kind of a fatigue thing, I guess. He's been around forever, but I agree, like if they take that division, just how everything was handled with the Russ saga too, and how easy they made that transition to Geno and how well he's looked. I think that it's a credit to Pete Carroll and how consistent they've been under him. And speaking of consistency, I think another guy who could potentially be here if they keep winning games is Mike Tomlin. Like I think I mentioned it last show, like to be able to win the way the Steelers are is super tough. Because the offense has struggled so much, but that defense is just so legit. And personnel-wise, they have a really good front. Like their D-line is really solid. But, there's some questions everywhere else. Tomlin's got that defense rocking and rolling. I don't think people expected them to have the record they have right now, preseason, or even seeing them this year. You know what I mean? Like I've seen a lot of Steelers games, and the fact that they're 5-3 is just really a credit to Mike Tomlin. It's insane to me that you had people questioning potentially his job. To me, I think the guy has he should have full job security for what he's been able to do for that franchise. So just another guy I'd mentioned, but yeah, I feel good about sticking with Mike McDaniel here just for what he's been able to do, kind of almost extending that Shanahan system and the creativity in the run game is just pretty impressive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta agree there.
No, it's no.
It has to be. I'm sorry.
I'm still on the no train. No, bro, he hasn't played.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
He's been active for one game and didn't even play.
He died on the field, and he still dresses for the team. Yeah. I'm sorry. Like, I don't see any other compelling argument. I get it. It's more of a story pick. It's more just of, like, picking it because, like, oh, the storyline calls for it. But I really don't see a compelling argument for anyone else. Like,
Tua is the second highest odds-wise right now. Your guy Josh Dobbs is number 3.
My boy. And listen, I love you, Pasternak, but you didn't die on the field. I get it. I
think
get
Brees Hall
like
at number 4 is very valuable as well right now.
Who?
I get it, but like I
Brees.
get the frustration, but I can't think of anyone else but Hamlin. Like the story is just there. Like it just there's no one else making a compelling argument that they should be over them. I know you like Tua, but the Dolphins were a solid team last year, and sure he missed a lot of games, but it wasn't like he died on the field like a certain other player. I know it's not fun to like always go with the storyline, but I think this is just a storyline the NFL will not let die. Like the paramedics.
I agree with Jimmy because specifically this is like the most narrative driven like award. Like even more so than like the Walter Payton Man of the Year award. Like this is, what counts as a comeback is kind of anybody's guess. And yeah, I just don't see the NFL going with anybody else. Like it to me, it would have to take like something crazy, like the Vikings finishing, 12-5. Josh Jobs is like 8-1 or whatever. And even then, like, I don't know. I don't know. I think that they are, and I totally get your argument, Rusty, is like, I mean, he literally hasn't played. Like, shouldn't that be kind of like a prereq to getting this award? I think honestly, the fact that he is simply on an active roster after that is gonna get him this.
Well then, why don't we give freaking John Mechie love or Foster Moreau love? They beat cancer.
It's because we saw this event on a football field.
Was because Foster Moreau dropped the game-winning touchdown against the Jaguars, or game-tying touchdown? Is that why?
Listen, man. Like I get it. Like been around people that beat cancer. Like it's no joke. But again, it's just the narrative. We saw Hamlin almost die on a football field. Like
I don't care if it comes off as being harsh on my end. It's fine. I'll accept the haters. But
I'm not hating, man. I get your argument. In some ways, I almost agree with you. It's like if he's not really
he can win the Walter Payton. That's fine. That's great. Give him the Walter Payton Man of the Year. Great. He's done a lot of community work. Done a lot for both Cincinnati and Buffalo communities, getting AED CPR certification courses going there. But no, comeback player of the year. You should have to play in games and come back from something and actually come back from something. He hasn't actually done anything except be on the roster. That's all he's done.
Being on an active roster is very difficult. I'm not going to pretend it's not. Even if you don't play, it's very difficult just to get there. So, I guess that's a good argument against that. It's just like, hey, like, it takes a lot to be on a roster.
Who is the leading passer in the NFL right now?
Then
I don't understand.
Name him most improved player then. Like, is he a comeback player or is he most improved?
Well, then you're changing the award.
Then give Tua a different award. That's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah,
your argument for Tua
was already in the MVP and the Offensive Player of the Year conversation.
I was honestly surprised to hear you say Tua was number 2 because, like,
he came back from multiple concussions last year.
Yeah, but like
3/4 of the season.
Yeah, it was on the field just like literally like this because of the brain damage. That was scary. I remember watching that. That was almost
as scary. How many games
did
he play last season?
Huh?
How many games did he play last season?
I think he missed half of the season. Let's see. I got it. He played 9 last year. So yeah, he missed 8 games.
Yeah.
Half the season, pretty much. Or no, that was this year that he's played 9. Never mind. He played 13 last year.
Yeah, so he missed 4 games.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Then let's give it to Brees. Brees Hall. He's not in the top 5 yet in rushing, or he's not even in the top 10. He's 13th right now, but that's because he didn't get a full workload like the first 5 weeks of the season. So I think eventually Brees will be top 10 in rushing at the very worst, but
I think you could make the case for Brees. I think just my broader point is that it would have had to take a very compelling reason for someone to ever steal this trophy from DeMar. I just don't think someone has done that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
all
Again,
right,
I think
give you one more. I'll
Let's
give
do
you what about TJ Watt? He missed 7 games last year with a partially torn pec. Now he's tied for lead in sacks. If he breaks, I mean, obviously he's going to be up for Defensive Player of the Year as well. But I don't know.
I mean, nah, I don't like. I think it's like it always lends itself to like when you're missing more time, like
What if Aaron
like
Rodgers comes
7
back and
games,
plays the
7
last
games.
3 games this season? What if
puts
Aaron
the
Rodgers
Jets in
comes
the
back
playoffs.
and wins and goes 3-0 to win to get the Jets
Yeah.
to the playoffs?
That would
Can
be the
you win?
funniest
Can you
thing
win
ever.
Comeback Player of the Year in the same season that you came back in?
That
We'll
would be
see.
the funniest thing ever. Him coming back and taking that award away from DeMar.
I mean, that would be
And then in
literally
his
the
acceptance
definition of a
speech, he's
comeback.
talking about, Robert Kennedy and ayahuasca and all this crazy shit. That'd be so
All right.
great.
Anyways, we spent a lot of time on Comeback Player of the Year, but
Yeah.
very heated debate. Offensive Rookie of the Year, baby. These are not updated from last night's game. I forgot to update the stats to include last night's game, but literally all you got to do is put 185 yards on that and lessen the completion percentage a little bit because he was under 63.9 last night, and also add 18 yards to his rushing total.
Yeah, I'm gonna start by saying I was definitely wrong about this. I think comfortably there's at least 2 offensive rookies that you could put over Bryce Hall. I mean,
Yep.
Bryce Young for the rookie of the year, and I would put CJ Stroud and Jordan Addison very comfortably above him.
Well, I can tell you, Jordan Addison ain't even close. He's 5th.
Oh yeah, it's the whole wide receiver anti.
No one's even close to CJ.
No,
CJ
I'm not surprised after that performance he had against the Bucks.
minus 500 right now.
Yeah, I think CJ is the obvious favorite, and Bryce. I mean, he's not horrible. I don't think there's no reason to believe he's a bust in any way, but it's very clear that he's gonna take some time to adjust to the NFL. But yeah, I'm throwing my hat like firmly into the CJ Stroud for rookie of the year, offensive rookie of the year. And yeah,
Bryce Young is 13th right now.
Who's top 5? Because you said Addison was 5th.
Puka is 2nd.
Okay.
Jahmyr Gibbs is 3rd. Bijan's 4th.
I'm kind of surprised at Bijan being above him. I haven't heard much from Puka in the last couple of weeks. I remember it was big at the beginning of the season. I haven't really checked.
He's still producing decently, but
Puka got locked down by Carrington Valentine, future All-Pro cornerback. But I mean, I think the best take that I saw from the Bryce, Young debate, if you want to call it that, on Twitter yesterday was that like this situation around him is as bad can be. but it is okay to say like you'd expect a little bit more from the number one overall pick, especially a guy that was so highly touted, kind of coming out by everybody is kind of pretty polished, including myself. He was my QB1. So I've been very surprised thus far. I'm not hitting the panic button at all yet. I think he still has plenty of time to develop. They got to get him some help for sure. But yeah, kind of where we're at.
Yeah, we were talking about that when we were talking about the Panthers game earlier. I suggested that Carolina should trade back into the late first round and get a Buka and just get him a weapon, just something to help him out. Because we were talking, other than really Thielen, it doesn't seem like anyone's really like going above and beyond to help this guy on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I'd also see what they could do to try and get T. Higgins.
Yeah.
Just so that like it's a proven commodity. It's one of those things we've seen other teams do this, a young QB, get him that proven guy that, he can kind of rely on. It's kind of a safety net. But yeah, they got to do something.
Yeah. Another name I saw floating around free agency was maybe bringing in Mike Evans, like really get him above and beyond wide receiver. And I will give Bryce this. He's got a good attitude. This isn't a Ryan Leaf, Jamarcus Russell situation. Like he's a professional. Like he puts in the work. It's very obvious in like interviews and film and stuff that Bryce Young really does put in the work. Things just aren't falling his way at the moment. And hey, I mean, having adversity at this point in the career is good. I mean, he's going to have a chance to really build himself back up. And there's no reason to give up on Bryce Young. There's no reason to really think this guy is going to be a Jamarcus Russell, Ryan Leaf situation, because this guy's talented. He's very professional. He puts it all out there. He's not lazy. So, sure, I don't think he wins Offensive Rookie of the Year. I think it's very safely C.J. Stroud, but I think we're going to hear a lot more C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young comparisons in a positive way soon.
I think by the end of the year, the competitors for CJ will be a lot of receivers and tight ends. Puka, Jordan Addison, Zay Flowers, Rashee Rice, Dalton Kincaid, Sam Laporta. Those are my competitors, top competitors for CJ Stroud with this award. All right.
I got 3 of those in the draft. Feel good.
Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Hate this one.
It's not very great. Logan is the leader. Because Will Anderson is currently 4th in odds.
What is it, Witherspoon first, I'm guessing?
Nope.
Really?
Carter.
That would be Witherspoon.
Mr. Carter, yes, sir.
Jalen
Carter.
Yeah,
Jalen Carter's minus 200 right now to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. 4 sacks from a rookie defensive tackle is fantastic. So, Jimmy's went down in flames.
It sucks because he was honestly playing super well. Like, he was so good at first.
Yeah.
Just 4 games, man.
He was balling out for those 4 games.
He was balling. Look at that stat line. I mean, he was playing, man.
Stop the count. Stop the count.
Stop the count. Stop it. Defensive Rookie of the Year, but only for a quarter of the year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why I picked Nolan Smith. I just wanted to go something different than everyone was picking Will Anderson or Jalen Carter at that point. So I was like, well, I'll go with the other Eagles rookie. He just hasn't played enough. Which is fine. But he's definitely been a pivotal part of the Eagles pass rush rotation. So got a sack already this year. I'm happy with Nolan Smith right now. Not for the award, though, unfortunately. You still good with Will Anderson there, Logan?
Yeah, I feel good about it. I think Jalen Carter's going to end up winning it. The only reason why I didn't pick Carter is because I thought that maybe he'd be buried a little bit on that depth chart for his first year. But I mean, he's been so good and has been so pro ready that they're like, we're not gonna waste this talent. So yeah, I think he's pretty in hand with it. But I mean, I do feel good about my Will Anderson pick. He's kind of been what I thought he could be in his first year up to this point. I figured maybe somewhere around like 7.5-ish sacks, you know. But yeah, I don't think he's gonna end up beating Carter out, but I still feel good about shooting my shot on that one.
You got to pick it up if you want to get the 7.5, 8 sack range. Just 2 through 9 games so far. All right. Offensive player of the year. So Logan and Jimmy, you guys went with Mr. Chase. 697 yards, 4 touchdowns. That is good for, let's see, 8th in yards currently. 8th in receiving yards. And he is 4th in odds-wise.
Yeah, definitely had a very slow start alongside Joe Burrow.
You want to come over to the dark side?
No. My pick goes to Jordan No, I'm just kidding. I still like this pick. Still a lot of season to go. I think Jordan Addison and Joe Burrow will continue to just tear up some defenses. No reason to move from 4th right now because good feeling about only going up from here.
I think that if it were happening today, this is very much Tyreek Hill's award. I think he probably ends up with it too. I mean, he's on pace for maybe the greatest season we've seen from a wide receiver. I mean, he's kind of cooled off a little bit like the last couple of weeks, but you just know that he's going to end up with another one of those 200-yarder games that just totally puts him in the upper stratosphere. I mean, I think he should be in the MVP conversation if we really want to get crazy with it. I mean, he's been that impactful. The Dolphins are not where they are without him. Yeah.
He's 10th in MVP.
I was going to say, especially in the next 5 weeks.
Yeah, he's 10th in MVP odds right now. He's actually co-favorites for the offensive player of the year right now with CMC, who is just scores touchdowns. Yeah. I mean, this is what I envisioned for the Dolphins this year. The Tua to Tyreek connection is exactly what I thought it was going to be. Tyreek is 2nd in receptions right now, just 1 behind Stephon Diggs. Obviously leads the league in yards, receiving yards by 71 over AJ Brown, and leads the league in receiving touchdowns by 1 over Diggs and your guy Jordan Addison, Jimmy. But yeah, I think if Tyreek continues to do that, I think it'll be close. I mean, CMC's, like I said, all he does is score touchdowns. So if CMC keeps scoring touchdowns, I mean, it's going to make it a tough choice. But I think Tyreek can get it done, especially if he breaks Michael Thomas's record. Or not Michael Thomas, Calvin Johnson's record. Michael Thomas had the receiving yards or receptions? Receptions, right?
I think it was receptions. Yeah. Slam Boy got receptions.
Yeah.
They're easy receptions. I mean, I can't blame
We're all feeling good. We are all feeling good right now. Defensive player of the year. Logan, you're up first. You were on Myles Garrett by yourself.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah, I'm
second right
feeling
now.
pretty solid about this. This is a great award because it's like I feel like it's very clearly going to be these two, and they're individual.
Parsons is the favorite right now.
Is he really? Have I been missing something about Parsons? Where's he at?
10 points. By
He
10
shouldn't
points.
be.
Parsons plus 180, Myles Garrett 190, TJ's 200.
I don't know. I'd be putting a decent amount of money, I think, on Myles Garrett. I think that he's been so dominant. He just hasn't had as much of kind of the volume numbers because he's like had no help. And that changed this year with the pieces they went and got and some of the simulated pressures that Schwartz is running right now, which has just been great. I think if he continues on this pace, I feel good about him winning it just because TJ's already won it. That just plays a factor in the decision-making process. So,
by the way, Garrett's stats are the bottom, TJ's are the top for anyone that didn't know. But yeah, Jimmy, you and I were on TJ. I mean, just wrecking everything. I mean, he single-handedly beat the Browns.
But I'm thinking of moving off from TJ Watt.
No, you can't go to the dark side now.
I'm not going to Myles. I'm going to my boy Danielle Hunter. 10 sacks, 46 combined tackles, 32 solo, 14 assisted. Leads the league in 13 tackles for loss. I mean, come on. How is he not in the defensive player of the year conversation? He is definitely being snubbed.
Would you like to know where he's ranked on DraftKings odds?
I'm gonna guess because the odds are stupid. He's like 8th.
Close, 9th.
Oh my god, come on. And you told me the guy that leads the league both in sacks and tackles for loss is 9th? Unbelievable. Garbage.
It's because not enough people are watching Vikings games.
Right?
Well, I would 1,000. If Kirk didn't have the Achilles injury, I would 1,000% be looking at Danielle Hunter like in this hunt because the Vikings are, playing winning football right now. They're a potential playoff contender, but the problem is that like the hype has died down. Team aspects play into this, even for individual awards.
Yeah, he really doesn't have the pop that TJ Watt, Myles Garrett.
He's not a sexy pick. I guess.
Crosby also has 9.5 sacks, I believe, this year. He's in the conversation as well.
Good point.
I still think Danielle Hunter needs a lot more love. He should be top 5.
He does.
Not.
Well, when he goes to a new team next year.
Boo! You shut your mouth.
Hey, he's the one that negotiated for the no tag clause. So that's on the Vikings. MVP. Here we go. So Jimmy, you want to go first with the T-Law?
T-Law. I mean, if you asked me after week 3, I would have been, a little upset, but they're on a roll right now, and it has to do a lot with how well T-Law is playing. I mean, he's very efficient. He doesn't turn the ball over a lot, and he uses his legs sparingly, but he does it pretty well. I don't think he's going to win MVP. I think he's really working from a deficit. He really if he wants to win MVP, he has to go crazy. But it's not an awful pick. I think he's a very good. He's a top echelon QB. I think there's an easy argument he's top 10. But I don't hate my pick, but I don't love my pick. But I'll stick with it.
Just keep handing it off to number 1 for fantasy purposes.
Sure, in garbage time. Don't worry, he'll be your garbage time hero. But T-Law, when it matters, he's an MVP out there.
Logan, you had Lamar.
Yeah, I feel really good about this pick because to this point, the rationale behind it has held up, which was, I felt like he was going to be able to thrive in this Todd Monken offense. And so far, he really has done that. This is the best he's looked since his MVP season, really. Super efficient. The problem is for MVP voting purposes, he just doesn't have the volume stats that a lot of those guys look at. So I think he could definitely finish in the conversation if some of those stats start getting pushed up, or let's say he finishes with like 1,000 yards rushing or something like that. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm sticking with it. I feel really good about it. But as of right now, I can understand why he's probably not the favorite, just in terms of kind of the volume passing stats that some other guys have.
Yeah, neither of our three are in the top 10 in passing yards right now. I believe mine is the only one in the top 10 in passing touchdowns. I am sticking with Justin Herbert. The Chargers, like I said, just got to 500. They're right on the cusp of moving into a wild card spot. And I loved what I saw on a preseason prediction article on ESPN today, or a midseason prediction article, I mean, that had the Chargers going on a run and winning the AFC West. And that would put Justin Herbert squarely into the MVP. Because, I mean, look, he's got 2,000 yards passing at the halfway. Really solid touchdown interception ratio. Also has the 3 QB sneak touchdowns as well. Maybe not all 3 are QB sneak, but anyways, 16-4 touchdown interception ratio total. And this is the Chargers offensively are finally playing how I thought they were going to play in the beginning when I picked Justin Herbert. And I think the Kellen Moore system is finally in place. Now that they have Eckler back 100%, they can run everything they want, despite not having Mike Williams nor Josh Palmer right now. Quentin Johnston's got to step up, but I think they'll be okay. Just throw into Eckler out of the backfield and stuff. So love Justin Herbert. I'm sticking.
I think Justin Herbert's kind of in the same situation we were talking about with Daniil Hunter. I think if he wants to win this MVP, he's got to go on a run. His team's got to win a lot, and it's got to be clear it's because of him. But I think out of these 3 picks, I think Herbert's probably the obvious best pick currently. And having kind of gone on a run of good wins and putting themselves back above water and getting back in the playoff conversation, I think Herbert really can make make an MVP run. But kind of like with almost every other award for high-profile players, if you want to win it, you got to make the playoffs. Playoffs is basically a prerequisite to win big awards like this. But yeah, Herbert has set himself up to really make that argument. But he just has to make that argument by winning. That's simple.
And that is the awards recap. How we feel about our picks this season. We'll probably do another one at the end of the season as well. So we'll see.
Well, with that, I got to get going. Thank you for letting me explain how I'm right about everything. I'm just a football genius. Anyone that's looking to hire me, specifically Vikings, call me. You know where to reach me. But yeah, thank you, boys.
You hit my line.
Hit my line, man. I got the inside scoop. But thank you for letting me on, and have a great rest of the show, you guys.
All right, man. See ya.
See you, Jimmy.
College football news. This is where it gets spicy. Not yet. That's coming in a second. But Georgia tight end Brock Bowers with his ankle injury. He was running at practice this week. Kirby said he wouldn't rule him out for Saturday night. I don't think he's going to play still. Still think he's one more week away. They always, all along, they said the Tennessee game was the marker. So I think that's more realistic. But it is nice trying to get hope, and maybe we see 19 out there in pads against Ole Miss tomorrow night.
Some gamesmanship from Kirby.
Yeah.
You know.
So the NCAA this week, they reduced the suspension for players betting on their school, but on a different sport. It was originally a permanent loss of eligibility, now just down to 1 year eligibility loss. So that's nice. Makes a lot of sense. You're not betting on your sport, even though you are betting on your school. Sure. A couple Senior Bowl invite updates. Kansas schools getting some guys invited. Kansas State offensive lineman Cooper Beebe and tight end Ben Sino. And Kansas offensive lineman Dominic Puny. Bro, I love me some Cooper Beebe. Road grading offensive guard. Kind of reminds me of Dalton Reisner for some reason. Maybe it's just because they both played at KSU.
The K-State vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it feels like we've been hearing about him forever because he was talking about last draft cycle too. So, yeah, I mean, I saw a tweet today. They were like, he's one of the more high floor prospects in this draft. Like, you kind of know what you're going to get from him, which is not a bad thing at all. So, yeah, I like him too.
Please, Steelers. We need some interior.
Yeah.
Panthers as well, please.
Yeah. Him next to Icky or him next to Broderick Jones would be solid.
Texas, good news for them. They're getting quarterback Quinn Ewers back this week. Malik Murphy did his job, got 2 wins in Ewers' stead. Back to the big man, and just in time to get Texas on a Big 12 championship run. And now we get to the spiciness of the day. The Big Ten has suspended Michigan head coach Jim Harbaugh for the rest of the regular season. 3-game suspension for him. Once again, though, just like the self-imposed 3-game suspension earlier this year from Michigan, he can coach during the week. That doesn't make sense. He can't coach and cannot be in the stadium the next 3 weeks on game day, but he can coach, practice, everything. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. I mean, to be like full disclosure, like I haven't been following this as closely as I probably should, as we are trying to study to be Marquette sports lawyers, and this is a very topical discussion. But at the same time, like, I feel like in order to get a better sense of how impactful this is, I would need to understand like what their game day mechanics are for things like challenges, timeouts, clock management, things like that. You know what I mean? To the extent that Harbaugh is involved in making all those decisions would have a big impact on whether he's in on game day or not. But like you said, I mean, he's getting to coach all throughout the week, so I'm not sure. It sounds like Michigan's going to really fight this. But and I mean, I guess they have to, just because, like, you have to go to bat, I guess, for your coaches. But in my opinion, like, this is not as bad of a punishment as maybe could have ended up happening kind of down the line.
Well, you got to think this is just the Big Ten's punishment, right? The NCAA is still under investigation. So there could be something even worse next season for them once the NCAA's investigation concludes. But yeah, I think it's going to have a big impact. This is the kind of suspension that I've wanted, though. Not just me hating Michigan to start off, but like it's totally rational, this decision, because I think it will have a big impact. I think you saw when he wasn't on the field for those 3 games. Granted, like we said at the time, they weren't playing anyone of note. No offense to those 3 schools that they played, but in those 3 games when they had 3 different interim head coaches, it was very conservative. That's why Michigan was only winning like they were only scoring 30 points in those 3 games, as opposed to like now they've been like just killing everyone by like 40 points. So I don't know if that's what's going to happen these next 3 games, if the play calling on offense specifically is going to be very conservative. But I'm happy because it's going to matter. You can't be conservative in 2 of the next 3 games, Penn State, Ohio State. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, they have Penn State tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
So
Michigan is they blasted the Big Ten, which I thought was hilarious because they were like, "Oh, the Big Ten is so un-American. They're laying down this suspension on Veterans Day just so they know, because they know the courts aren't open on Veterans Day, and so that deters us from being able to file a motion for an injunction." I was like, cool, bro, whatever. Maybe you shouldn't have cheated and you wouldn't have this issue. That's what I've been saying all along, though. Like, bro, Michigan really has no defense. Like, if you wouldn't have done it, there wouldn't be anything happening to you. So it's just easy. In my book, anyways. Yeah. News of the day. USFL news. We had a trade, first offseason trade in the USFL. So the Philadelphia Stars traded safety Cody Brown and defensive tackle Marvin Wilson to the Stallions for guard Gray Davis and tackle Ryan Pope. I hate that trade for the Stars. I mean, Pope is a decent offensive tackle. I don't know much about Gray Davis, but Cody Brown was an all USFL safety, fantastic player, hard hitter as well. And Marvin Wilson hasn't really lived up to the NFL hype that he got when he came out of FSU, but still think he's a solid player, rotational interior disruptor, and can play the run pretty well. So I think it's a lopsided trade, and the back-to-back USFL champs just got that much better. NFL-wise, weird situation going on with the Patriots, as if their team wasn't already weird enough at 2-7. Corner J.C. Jackson didn't travel with them to Germany. There are questions about his reliability, apparently. But they said he should probably return after their bye week next week, so who knows? I mean, they traded for him, so
yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't want to play for the Patriots either, to be honest. I get where he's coming from.
Yeah. Sounds like a guy who's just kind of like the love for the game just probably isn't there anymore, which,
yeah.
I mean, like it happens.
Giants, they are starting Tommy DeVito at quarterback, the undrafted rookie out of Syracuse. The record breaker now. He will be the 10th rookie quarterback to start this season. That breaks the NFL record of 9 rookies to start at quarterback in one season. So congrats to Mr. DeVito. You get a nice, warm welcome from the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas.
Congratulations. You're
as a 17
your prize is Micah Parsons.
As a 17-point road dog.
Jesus. I saw someone on Twitter call him the tank sergeant. Tommy DeVito.
We'll see how long he lasts before he's begging Matt Barkley to come in. The NFL this week announced a big announcement by the league. They announced that juniors who declare for the NFL draft, they will now be eligible to participate in the East-West Shrine Bowl, Senior Bowl, and HBCU Legacy Bowl. Just for note, 69 juniors declared for the draft last year. Would imagine, I don't really know what the average is, but I would imagine it's probably somewhere around there. So yeah, it's interesting. I had to check. Love this. It's around an hour and a half. That's when the freeze usually occurs. So we're right on schedule. But yeah, I had to check with my superior just to see if that affected our event for the National Scouting Combine, because I wasn't sure, and he said he's going to check with the NFL to see if we can get juniors too, because if we can, that's good Lord, that's like double the work that we have to do because we haven't been scouting juniors all year. It's been just seniors, because that's
Right.
like the only people we were allowed to invite anyways. So yeah, it'll be quite the ordeal if we have to start looking at juniors as well. But I guess it doesn't matter, because we wouldn't know which ones we can invite until they declare. So, and I don't know what the declaration deadline is currently. So whatever. We'll see when we unfreeze, but doesn't matter, because we're on the same slide anyways. IR return. So the Vikings, they opened the practice window for wide receiver Justin Jefferson with his hamstring injury. Listed himself as day-to-day. He's listed as questionable for the game this weekend. I liked how the one website posted on Twitter or whatever, I forget who it was, and they're like, Vikings getting a big help coming back this week. And then Adam Schefter commented on it. He said, don't get your hopes up. Because, yeah, he's not expected to play. He's listed as questionable, but there's not really many people expecting him to play this week. Texans getting some help back, possibly. They designated corner Derek Stingley Jr. to return from IR. We haven't seen him in a long time. I don't even remember last time I saw him play. So,
yeah.
Eagles, bad news. I kind of alluded to this earlier. Placing linebacker Nakobe Dean back on IR for the second time this season. He has a Liz Frank sprain. So, man, the injuries piling up for Philadelphia currently a little bit with Dallas Goedert and Nakobe Dean now. But luckily, not season ending for either guy. Be back for the playoffs and late season run. So, sure. Injury-wise, Lions running back David Montgomery with his rib injury expected to play this week. And Bills had an interesting situation. Wide receiver Stephon Diggs popped up with a back injury today, so I have to monitor that as they go forward. Obviously plays on Monday, so we won't get a game status until Saturday, till tomorrow. Ins and outs, Colts corner Juju Brents and tight end Drew Ogletree both out this week. Rookie wide receiver Josh Downs with his knee injury. He is officially questionable. Please, Josh, play. I need you in fantasy against a bottom three or a bottom third pass defense fantasy-wise. So please play. The Bengals wide receiver T. Higgins with his hamstring injury and defensive end Sam Hubbard, they are both out. Higgins is week to week, like I said earlier. Patriots down offensive tackle Trent Brown with an ankle injury and wide receiver Devontae Parker with his concussion, both out. Jets offensive lineman Billy Turner with a broken bone in his hand. He is out, so more offensive line issues for the Jets. Texans down 2 playmakers, wide receiver Nico Collins and running back Damian Pierce, both out. Big Tank Dell game possibly coming. Browns, they will be down their top 3 tackles. Jack Conklin, Jedrick Wills, DeJuan Jones, all out. Ravens lead the league in sacks with 35. Vikings, tight end TJ Hawkinson, rib and oblique injury is questionable. He said he expects to play, though. Ravens rookie running back Keaton Mitchell dealing with a hamstring injury. He is officially questionable. And other guys out this weekend, Texans tight end Brevin Jordan, kicker Kaimi Fairbairn, and fullback Andrew Beck, and safety Jimmy Ward. Jags wide receiver Zay Jones. 49ers defensive end Drake Jackson. Titans wide receiver Traylon Burks. Offensive tackle Nicholas Petit-Frere. Guard Daniel Brunskill. Steelers safety Minka Fitzpatrick. Defensive tackle Montravius Adams. Saints rookie running back Kendre Miller. Vikings quarterback Jaron Hall. Browns wide receiver David Bell and Marquise Goodwin. I don't remember. Is that Giants corner? Is Adoree Jackson still on the Giants? I couldn't remember what team Adoree was on. I guess Giants, right?
Yes, I think so.
I just assumed because he was listed before Evan Neal. Again, Schefter, like, you have the check mark. You have unlimited characters. Like, put the team names so I don't have to remember them. But Giants corner Adoree Jackson, offensive tackle Evan Neal, Cardinals running back Amari DiMercato, Falcons wide receiver Mac Hollins, defensive back D. Alford, Lions offensive lineman Halapoli Vaitai, Jets offensive tackle Dwayne Brown, and linebacker Chaz Surratt, all out this weekend. 2 signings to mention, just practice squad guys. Raiders signed tight end Jesse James to their practice squad, and the Seahawks, keeping it in division, they signed quarterback Brett Rippon to their practice squad to serve as the 3rd quarterback behind Geno and Drew Lock. College pick standings, yes, sir. I am coming up. 24-4 for me last week. 22-6 for you. 21-7 for Jimmy. Y'all's lone wolf bonanza did not turn out very well. 1-8 combined between you two. 1-9 overall because I went 0-1 on mine as well. So you were 1-4.
I had 5 lone wolves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you won your first one.
Well,
You lost
I was about as chalk can be this week, so we'll see. Now it'll be upset week is what'll happen.
Yeah. So yeah, I am now just 3 games back after getting 2 on you, and Jimmy has not yet to reach 200 wins this year. So he is now 10 games back after he went 0-4 on his Lone Wolves and lost a game. This week I have 1, Jimmy has 1, you have 2. Not starting with this one. Tonight, though, Wyoming at UNLV should be an excellent game, I think, anyways. 2 of the top teams fighting for one of the spots in the Mountain West championship game. And we're all going with the Rebels at home at Allegiant Stadium in Vegas. It's just the vibes, right? It has to be the slot machine on the field when they get a turnover. It's fantastic, and I think Wyoming's kind of fallen off a little bit. If this was in Laramie, I would be on the Cowboys, but It's in Vegas, though. The total is 50.5 tonight. I like the under. 10:45 on FS1, late one in Vegas. Tomorrow we are number 3 Michigan at number 10 Penn State, and I haven't checked yet to see. Let me see if this has changed. It is not. It is still 4 for Michigan. I'm very surprised at that. I thought people would just start betting the hell out of Penn State with no Harbaugh. But yeah, of course, why would I pick that gross team in blue? I feel good about it. I think Penn State learned from their Ohio State loss. Is at home. I hate that it's a noon kickoff. That's just the dumbest thing ever to have this game at noon and to have frickin' Michigan State, Ohio State at 7. That's just stupid as hell. But anyways, I think the defense will play very well, and it's going to be low scoring. But I think the home field advantage wins out for Penn State.
Yeah, I think, in my opinion, with or without Harbaugh, I think Michigan gets the dub. I think Penn State is maybe just a little too young. I wasn't impressed, obviously, with the Ohio State game. And on the flip side, Michigan has a lot of senior leadership.
They haven't played anyone.
Right. That's the other thing I was going to mention was that they haven't played anyone up to this point. With that said, like I said before, I just don't think Penn State's there yet. This in terms of where the program's at. Penn State hasn't really played anybody either. The one team they did play was Ohio State, and they did not look like they were ready for it.
Bro, we just
maybe they get a chance at it again, but
we just absolutely demolished Maryland last weekend, and Maryland's probably a second-tier team in the Big Ten. Whatever. Disrespect the Terps. That's okay.
I'm not buying it.
Total is 44.5. Now the Ohio State game ended up 32. And I mean, like I said, I think it's low scoring. I'm going under on this one as well. 12 p.m. on Fox. Big noon kickoff. Number 8, Alabama at Kentucky. We're all on the Tide in Lexington. I mean, it's kind of like autopilot from here on out with Alabama. I don't think they really have anyone left on their schedule that's going to – I mean, I haven't looked, but as far as I know, I don't believe – yeah, they literally – it's just literally the Iron Bowl. But the Iron Bowl is at Jordan Hare this year. Anytime it's at Auburn, it gets a little weird. But
spooky.
And I'm sure that's going to be a night game. I'm sure it will. It gets weird at Jordan Hare when the Iron Bowl's there. But yeah, shouldn't have any issues in this one. I think they're going to pick Levis off maybe twice and shut down Ray Davis in the run game.
Yeah, when I was looking at this, I was like, this kind of has maybe some trap game material on the road against Kentucky, but it just feels like Alabama's really kind of found their stride. You look at the start of the season, they didn't really feel like they had an identity. They, felt like they were kind of getting flat-footed a little bit. I think this team really knows what it is right now and knows what it does well, what it doesn't do well. and is able to play to those strengths. So yeah, I think they'll handle it just fine.
47.5 is the total. I like the over. 12 p.m. ESPN.
All right, brother, man, I got to hop off.
All right, dude. See ya.
Have a good weekend, man.
Thanks, man. You too. Texas Tech at number 16, Kansas. Jayhawks, I don't think will have an issue, especially at home in Lawrence. 4 points, I think, is a little low. Texas Tech, a lot of people liked the Red Raiders coming into this season, but I'm rolling with Lance Leopold. Up to 16 from 21 last week, even in a closer one against Iowa State, but I was on the road in Ames. So I think back at home, this one, they cover that spread and win at least by a touchdown. 62.5 is the total. I like the under. 12 p.m. FS1. Tulsa at number 23, Tulane. The Green Wave getting 24 at home. I think that's a bit much, even against a lowly Tulsa team fighting for their bowl eligibility. Tulane really struggled on the road last week against ECU. Just a 3-point comeback win after they were down 10-0. But I do think that Michael Pratt and that Green Wave offense will show out in this one. Again, I don't know if they cover. It's a lot of points in a conference matchup, but I do like the Green Wave to win this one at home. Total is 53.5. I'm leaning on the over. 12 p.m. ESPN 2. Old Dominion at Liberty. The Flames, disrespect once again for the Flames not being ranked in the top 25, even at 9-0. We all think they're going to 10-0. ODU on the road at Liberty, I think, is going to be a problem. The Flames rolling right now. Caden Salter at quarterback. Jamie Chadwell at head coach. They have it going, and the defense is playing spectacular as well. I think they shut down ODU and get to 10-0. 59.5 is the total. I like the under. 1 p.m. ESPN Plus. Number 21, Arizona at Colorado. Yeah, I think this one might be a little tricky. Wildcats ranked for the first time this season in the CFP. Love this young team. Jed Fish at head coach there. Noah Fafita at quarterback is balling. And I think this one could be close. I am leaning Colorado plus 10 being in Boulder. But I also think it might be a shootout between Shedeur Sanders, Noah Fafita. Again, I don't think there's many teams that have a worse defense than the Buffaloes. So I think that's why we're all rolling with Arizona, and because of the momentum that the Wildcats have at this point in the season. Total is 54.5. I like the over. Like I said, could be a shootout. 2 p.m. Pac-12 Network. UConn at James Madison. I was surprised it's only 25 for JMU at home. I think the Dukes absolutely demolish UConn just like Tennessee did last week. Jordan McLeod plays well, and the Dukes get to 10-0. And finally, put them in the dang top 25 CFP. What are you doing? 48.5 is the total. I like the over. JMU by themselves. 2 p.m. ESPN Plus. Baylor at number 25, Kansas State. Was kind of surprised KSU stayed in the top 25 by the CFP with 3 losses. 21 points at home. That's a lot in a Big 12 game. I lean Baylor plus 21. I know the Bears have not had a great season, and I don't think they're going to win, but I think they could possibly cover, even though they are not going to be going bowling this year. 54.5 is the total. I like the over in this game. 3 p.m. Big 12 Network and ESPN Plus. Miami, the Canes at number 4, Florida State. FSU getting 14 at home. Is this a neutral site game? I think it might be. As far as I remember, I feel like this rivalry is always neutral site. No, it is not. Never mind. It is at Doak Campbell Stadium there in Tallahassee. So, yeah, makes it even more of a point to pick FSU. They've struggled a little bit the last 2 weeks. Hopefully they get one or both of the receivers, Keon Coleman, Johnny Wilson, back this week to help Jordan Travis out. But Miami has been struggling. Tyler Van Dyke turned the ball over 4 times last week, three picks and a fumble. So as long as FSU's defense continues to play lights out like they have been, I think the Noles shouldn't have any issue. I do like Miami plus 14, though. 51.5 for the total here. I'm leaning on the over. 3:30 on ABC. Number 18, Utah at number 5, Washington. The Huskies getting 8.5 at home. I lean Utah plus 8.5 specifically because of the defense. Jonah Ellis, Karene Reed, and co. Those boys play awesome on defense. Now they got shell-shocked by Oregon at home in Salt Lake City. But even on the road, I think the defense plays well in this game. They lose a close one to Washington. But I could be totally wrong. Washington just absolutely annihilates them like Oregon did. Who knows? But I think we're all going with the Huskies to win. I like Utah plus 8.5, though. 49.5 is the total. Give me the under. Like I said, that Utah defense. 3:30 on Fox. Number 13, Tennessee at number 14, Missouri. I was surprised no one took a shot on the Vols in this game, but it's on the road in Columbia, Missouri. That's a tough place to play. It's an afternoon game, not a night one, which makes it a little even tougher. But yeah, I think Missouri coming off the loss to Georgia last weekend is going to be tough, but I think they're still a good team. Losing that game by 9. This is going to determine whether Tennessee we're going to see what Tennessee is going to have. Maybe they're looking ahead to Georgia next weekend. I don't know if they will per se. I think it's going to be a closer game, but I just like the Tigers better. The offense, I trust Brady Cook more than I do Joe Milton to throw the ball. So give me that. Give me Cody Schrader in the ground game as well. And of course, Luther Burden through the air. 58.5 for the total in this one. I am leaning on the under, but like 57 is where I'm at. 3:30 SEC on CBS. Number 15, Oklahoma State coming off the Bedlam win at UCF. We are all on the Cowboys. They are trying to make a Big 12 title run. I was surprised it's only 2.5, but it is on the road at the Bounce House. So could end up being a good one. UCF played Oklahoma close as well. So they're probably going to play Oklahoma State close too. I'm going with the Cowboys, though. They have a Heisman Trophy hopeful there in Ollie Gordon. Alan Bowman is playing very well at quarterback too. So give me the Fighting Mike Gundy's here. 65.5 is the total. I like the over. Crazy stuff happens at the Bounce House in Central Florida. 3:30 ESPN. Rutgers at number 22, Iowa, and Jimmy is back on his BS there. Lone wolfing Rutgers is Mr. O'Malley. Not on the road, sir. In Kinnick Stadium, I know it's afternoon game, not a night one, but it doesn't matter. Rutgers, I don't believe will be able to go on the road and beat Iowa. That's just my understanding of how Kinnick Stadium is. Plus, Iowa, oddly enough, don't know why they are ranked. Couldn't tell you. They're 7-2. I really don't know how they're 7-2. But yeah, Rutgers is going to have a little hangover from the Ohio State game last weekend. I do think Iowa wins it, but it's going to be low scoring like it always is with the Hawkeyes. So yeah, it's really a toss-up, but Iowa gets it done. Maybe they win 9-7 and cover the spread. Who knows? 28.5 I mean, dear Lord. I have never seen a spread that low. I don't think I've ever seen a spread under 30. And to have 28.5 in this game. But we're going to roll with it. Let's go with the under. I said 9-7. Why not? 16 points. 330 Big Ten Network. Texas State at Coastal Carolina. Another lone wolf here. This one for Logan. He is going with the Chants on the teal turf in Myrtle Beach. I was close. I was thinking about picking the Chants, but then I was like, no, I've been on Texas State most of the year. I like TJ Finley, like the head coach DJ Kinney as well. They're bowl eligible. Now they got to try to make a run and hope that Troy loses one or two down the stretch here to try to get into the Sun Belt Championship game. Coastal still trying to make a push for the Sun Belt East as well. So this is a big matchup. I am rolling with Texas State as well. Jimmy is as well. 57.5 for the total. I like the under. 330 ESPN Plus. Stanford, the Cardinal, trying to save their season in the first year of head coach Troy Taylor. Not going to happen. At number 12, Oregon State in Corvallis. 21 points for the Beavers. They're just too good offensively and defensively for the Cardinal to keep up with, I believe. And I think they will cover the 21 points. Should be a good day or night in Corvallis there. Total's 52.5. I'm leaning on the under. 530 Pac-12 Network. Go Dogs. Number 9, Ole Miss. At number 2, Georgia. 10.5 points. This is where College Game Day will be. Yeah, and again, love that we're at number 2. Use it to the best of your ability, Kirby. It's fine. Biggest game of the season here for Georgia. Just keep winning, man. That's all you got to do. So, yeah. Got to shut down the run game and make Jackson Dart beat you, I think, anyways. Total's 58.5 under. 7 p.m. on ESPN. West Virginia at number 17, Oklahoma. This is a big matchup in terms of Big 12 championship implications, possibly. I don't think I think Oklahoma's going to come out with a little bit of chip on their shoulder after the Bedlam loss last weekend. I think they're going to get the win against West Virginia. A good West Virginia team that's bowl eligible this year. Sooners get one, but I lean WVU plus 11.5. 59.5 is the total here. I am leaning on the under. 7 p.m. on Fox. Michigan State at number 1, Ohio State. Still think this is stupid to have as a night game. The Buckeyes are 31.5 point favorites. They'll cover that. MSU sucks. They're trying to save their season. And they will not be able to. So, yeah. Quick game there. Total is 47.5. I like the over. Ohio State gets it by themselves. 7:30 on NBC. Will not be watching this one. Texas at TCU. I wouldn't be surprised if the close of this line is closer to 15 points with the news that Quinn Ewers is returning. Could be wrong, though. It's on the road at TCU. I just think the Horns, especially with Quinn Ewers back, a lot better on offense with him. So I think they get an easy win at TCU and cover the spread there. 55.5. Let's go with the over. 7:30 ABC. Florida at number 19 LSU. We are all on the Tigers here in Death Valley. I don't think Graham Mertz's going to be able to go on the road to LSU and win. I do think Jaden Daniels will play for this game. I think that's why the spread moved from like 12 to 15 as it currently sits. Should be good news for LSU. Jaden Daniels back, hopefully. and I don't think they're going to be able to stop the LSU offense. 67.5 is the total. I like the under. Don't believe in Florida's offense to score enough points to hit that over. 7:30 SEC Network. Duke at number 24, North Carolina. I was kind of shocked we were all on UNC. They're getting 13 points at home. I think that's also a pretty big spread for this matchup of two solid teams in my mind. UNC has been so up and down this year, and Duke really has not looked great since Riley Leonard got hurt and then now re-injured. But yeah, I'm going with UNC. I just think Tez Walker has been a godsend for that offense, and the heels Drake May continues to try to push for a spot in the ACC championship game. Total is 50.5. I am leaning on the over. 8 p.m. ACC Network. USC at number 6, Oregon. Ducks getting 15.5 at home. I think they'll cover that. It will be a tough one, but I think Oregon's defense shuts down Caleb Williams, and the Ducks win this one easily against a porous USC defense that we saw last weekend. Give up 52. Total is 76.5. I like the under. Okay, like I said, I think Oregon wins and wins big. I think the defense shuts down Caleb Williams, though. 10:30 on Fox. Fresno State at San Jose State. I really don't know why the Spartans are favored at home. I had high hopes for San Jose State at the beginning of the season. Has not worked out in my favor. Fresno State making a run to the Mountain West Championship game. Got to have a tough road game here. But we're all on Fresno. Mikey Keene has given me no pause to not pick against Fresno State or to pick against him. So, yeah, I'm rolling with the Bulldogs. Mikey Keene and co. get the win on the road, 9-1. 54.5 is the total. I think I'm going to go on the under. 10:30 CBS Sportsnet. Air Force, after their first loss this season last week against Army, 19.5-point favorites at Hawaii. Long way to go from Colorado to Hawaii. But I think we all think the Falcons win it. And I don't know about the spread. Hawaii can be tricky. But I do like Air Force to win and bounce back to 9-1 on the season. Continue their push to the Mountain West Championship game. Total is 47.5. I like the under. This one is at 11 p.m. No network attached. FCS game of the week, number 10 North Dakota at number 6 South Dakota. Big battle here of the Dakotas. And makes total sense that we would have a lone wolf on this one with the South Dakota mascot being the Coyotes. So, yeah, Logan rolling with the Coyotes at home. They got absolutely obliterated by South Dakota State a couple weeks ago, bouncing back up to 6 in the rankings this week. I don't know why. I think the Fighting Hawks here with North Dakota gonna have something for South Dakota in this battle in this interstate battle. And I'm going with my guy, Luke Skokna, to make some plays. Shout out, Luke. Look for him to have an impact in all 3 phases there. Or I guess I should say 2 of the 3 phases with special teams offense. Good all-purpose day coming, I think. 1 p.m. on ESPN Plus for this one. Pick standings last week. It was a tough week. Jimmy and I tied at 8-5 for the best record. Logan 1 game back of us with 7-6. And that was because Logan went 1-2 in his Lone Wolves. He got the Packers right, but he lost the Cowboys, lost the Jets. Cowboys against the Eagles, Jets against the Chargers. Jimmy went 2-2 in his. He got the Vikings right over the Falcons, Colts right over the Panthers, but he lost the Giants against the Raiders and the Bills against the Bengals. I forgot to mention what our ones were for college. So even though it was so bad. Logan got Boston College right over Syracuse. He lost, however, Missouri against Georgia, Georgia Southern against Texas State, USC against Washington, LSU against Alabama. I lost my only one, Sacramento State against Montana in the FCS game of the week. Jimmy, his 4 Lone Wolf losses: Oklahoma against Oklahoma State, BYU against West Virginia, Miami against NC State, and UCLA against Arizona. So Logan is now 6 back of Jimmy, and I have tied Logan in second place at 6 back with the 1 game betterment that I had him last week. So this week, one more international game to go this season. Frankfurt, Germany. The Colts 2.5-point favorites at the Patriots. Technically a road game there in Germany. We are all on Indianapolis, and I think that's perfect because the Patriots are just trash. Like, Mac Jones has done some good stuff offensively, but overall their team is not good. I think Gardner Minshew has a good game, hopefully for my fantasy team wise, and gets the win here. Minshew Mania travels abroad. 42.5 for the total here. I'm leaning on the under. 9:30 a.m. NFL Network. Packers at the Steelers, and of course, Logan was not lone wolfing. The Vikings fan, Jimmy, picking the lone wolf on the Packers. Surprising move. Maybe it's some reverse psychology by Jimmy to get the Steelers to win. I don't know, but I'll take the win. And Logan and I are on Pittsburgh. It's at home. Steelers do not lose many at home, especially under Mike Tomlin. That defense, I think, is going to cause havoc with that Packers offensive line all day and get Jordan Love a little flustered, make him turn it over a couple times. 38.5 is the total for this game, and I'm going under. Steelers win it maybe like 15-13, something like that. Texans at the Bengals. No one went with the offensive rookie of the year favorite right now in CJ Stroud on the road in Cincinnati. But I understand, like we've been saying all show, the Bengals are on one right now, have won 4 straight, and will continue to do so. Don't think this Texans defense is quite where D'Amico Ryans is envisioning it to go with the talent that they have. They're pretty solid right now, but just young, and I think they're going to have some issues covering Jamar Chase in this game, even without T. Higgins. 6.5 for Cincinnati on the road. Not sure if they cover, but do win. 46.5 is the total for that game. I like the under by a couple. Titans at the Bucks. We are all on Tampa Bay this week. 1 point is the spread here for Tampa at home. 2, 3, and 5 teams. Will Levis, the starter for the rest of the season for the Titans. I think Tampa and that Todd Bowles defense is going to be the difference in this game. They're going to make Will Levis uncomfortable and blitz him a lot and make him turn the ball over a little bit. That's how they're going to win this game, I think. 39.5 is the total in this game. Let's go over. 24-20, Bucks win. Big AFC North matchup, Browns at the Ravens. Jimmy did not go with Caroline's Cleveland Browns there. We're all on the Ravens. Have to pick them, especially at home. The defense playing lights out. Like I mentioned, Cleveland without their top 3 tackles, Ravens lead the league in sacks. Not a great combination for Cleveland to win the game. It's going to be a defensive battle, I think, but I think the Ravens win out eventually. Don't cover, though. Plus 6.5 for Cleveland is my pick in that regard. Total is 38.5 under. 49ers at the Jags. Another really solid game. Was surprised no one tried to go with the Jags at home in this game. But the Niners coming off a bye. I think Kyle Shanahan will have it figured out, even having to go on the road to Jacksonville. A pretty long flight there from San Fran. But CMC is going to score. Should be a great running back matchup. CMC versus Travis Etienne. And I think Brock Purdy figures some stuff out. They get back to playing good defense and win this one close on the road. 44.5 is the total in this one. I like the under defensive battle. Last 1 o'clock game here, Saints at the Vikings. Jimmy, of course, being the homer that he is, rolling with his Vikings once again. I just don't see it. Last week was a close one to pick for me between the Falcons and the Vikings. This one wasn't as close. I think the Saints have a lot rolling on the defensive side of the ball, and they're doing just enough offensively with Derek Carr and company to get it done. Don't believe in the Vikings defense being able to stop the Saints offense enough, but I do believe in the Saints defense to stop the Vikings offense more often than not. 40.5 is the total in this game. Give me the over a little bit. Falcons at the Cardinals, and this is like this is the second time this season that Logan has lone wolfed the Arizona Cardinals. First time it worked out pretty well for him, so I guess he sees an opportunity here. Their only win against the Cowboys in Arizona. This one's also in Arizona against the Falcons, who are 2-point favorites on the road. I just don't see it. First game back for Kyler. Now, to be honest, I am starting Kyler in a league because I needed a quarterback on Jalen Hurts bye week. So I'll be rooting for Kyler. But I just don't think Kyler's first game back is the one that they're going to win. I think the Falcons have looked better with Taylor Heineke at quarterback, and they're going against a nice matchup with this Cardinals defense. So I think they should run the ball more. Throw it to Jonnu Smith still. But I think Atlanta gets out with a close one. By the way, this 405 game here, total is 43.5. Give me the under. Also at 405, Lions at the Chargers, and Logan going back-to-back lone wolves here with the Detroit Lions, who are 3-point favorites at LA. Like I have been saying, the Chargers I believe in still. I believe Justin Herbert has found something. Kellen Moore and company on offense. Their defense is actually playing very well and have stopped the run, which has been the Achilles heel for the last 5 years for LA. But they are doing a really good job of stopping the run this year for some reason. And it's a tough matchup with Jared Goff and that Lions offense, especially coming off the bye. But they're at home. Doesn't give them a big home field advantage. But I do think the Chargers are the better overall team. They get the win close. 48.5 is the total here. I'm leaning on the under by a couple. 46. Giants at the Cowboys. Yeah, this is going to be just a bloodbath. The Cowboys at home, 17-point favorites is just ridiculous. Against an undrafted rookie quarterback in his first career start, it's not a very good recipe for the New York Giants. That midseason report that I saw, or midseason predictions article on ESPN, had the Giants losing out, going 2-15 and getting the number 1 overall pick. So wouldn't be surprised, to be honest. Total is 38.5. I like the over. I just do not see any energy on this Giants offense. I think the Cowboys get that over by themselves and score 40 in this one. Another 425, the other 425 game here, the Commanders at the Seahawks. No one wanted to take a shot on Ron Rivera on the road here in Seattle against his good buddy Pete Carroll, Jimmy's coach of the year. Yeah, I think Seattle's just it's a great matchup for Geno Smith, the ball out. Throw some to Tyler Lockett, please, sir. And I just don't think that the pass rush is going to be impressive because of no Montez Sweat, no Chase Young anymore. So total is 44.5. I like the over. Sunday Night Football, Jets at the Raiders. This was an interesting line. I thought we were about to get our second half-point spread. Like we ended up, the closing line on the one game last week was a half. This opened at a half for the Jets, but ultimately has swung now 1.5 points to the Raiders side. I think it's going to be a good one, but I just think the Jets overall are the better team, and I think they're going to give Aiden O'Connell some issues defensively. So give me the Jets. $36.5 is the total here. I like the under. 8:20 on NBC. Finally, Monday Night Football, Broncos at the Bills. Yes, we are all on Buffalo, of course. Why would we not be? Coming off the bye week and or not the bye week. Coming off the loss to Cincinnati, they need wins in a hurry. I think they'll get one here at home. Play a good game. Broncos coming off the bye, though. Should be a decent game. Best bets of the week. So I went 1-2 last week. Still not the greatest. 5 games under 500. Still have not won a left column bet on my spreadsheet. I've won 2 back-to-back on the right side, but last week lost the Seahawks +6 at the Ravens. That did not go very well. The Falcons -3.5 against the Vikings. I thought that was going to be a good one, but they lost to the passer not there. And then the Bengals -2 against the Bills. That one was the lone win last weekend. So this weekend, here we go. I got the Colts -1.5 at the Patriots in Frankfurt. Love that spread. Very low. It's at 2 right now, 2.5 right now. I would still probably take that. I think it's a good bet. The Patriots, I just have no confidence in. So give me the Colts -1.5. Steelers -3 against the Packers. It's up to 3.5 now. Still, I like the Steelers at home. If you can get 3, get 3 because it's a nice even line there at a field goal. But regardless, I am very confident in Pittsburgh at home against the Packers. And then the Bucs -1 against the Titans. Again, it's a rookie quarterback going to Tampa. I think the Bucs can win this one at home, even close maybe. But I think Baker Mayfield, and again, that Todd Bowles defense is what I'm banking on with the Buccaneers. Lock standings. We all won last week on our locks. Logan got the Browns right against who did the Browns beat? Oh, the Cardinals. Sellout pick right there. I got the Eagles right over the Cowboys last week, and Jimmy got the Chargers right against the Jets. So this week, Jimmy and Logan still 1 game above me at 5-4. They are back above 500. I am 1 game back under 500 at 4-5. So this week, locks of the week. Logan has the Bengals against the Texans. That's a good one. Finally, he picks a competitive game to pick a lock on. So We are all on Cincinnati, so we all think Logan will win that one. Jimmy Lone Wolf and the Packers against Logan and I on the Colts or on the Steelers. Still love the Pittsburgh. That's why I'm going with them. Lock of the week. They're at home. Lock it down. Doom. Jimmy, he is, I think, the sellout pick of the week for the lock. Bills at home against the Broncos. I think it could be a bigger game, a closer game than some people think. I don't think. However, it could be just a blowout as well. So we'll see. Dogs of the week, yeah. Jimmy got us, and I am now below 500. At least I tied the one 2 weeks ago because Logan hasn't won a lone wolf since week 5. So it's been a bit for him. That was Jimmy's first win since week 5 as well. So when he won this, he covered the spread with the Texans against the Falcons. But yeah, so Jimmy is now 2 games up on Logan, who is sitting right at 500, 9-9. And I am 1.5 games or 2.5 games back, I should say, of Jimmy at 8-9-1. See what we got this week. Logan going with his Arizona Cardinals here, +2 against the Falcons at home. Don't like it, sir. I think the Falcons win that one, and Cardinals will not cover in Kyler's season debut. I'm the only underdog I picked this week was the Chargers, so that has to be my dog of the week. +3 against the Lions. Confident in Justin Herbert. It should be a very competitive game, but I think LA gets the win at home. And of course, Jimmy is going with his Vikings once again for the second straight week, going with Josh Dobbs and co. He is lone wolfing that game against the Saints, so hopefully he does not win. +3 though at home against New Orleans. As my voice is dying because this show has gone way longer than we usually do, but we had a lot of fun in the beginning. That is the show for today. Don't forget to check us out next Friday. We'll be talking week 11 NFL, college football, NFL news as always, and we'll get you your Thursday night football game recap and weekend slate preview. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcast on Instagram and Twitter, FAA_bets on X as well. FAApodcast.com is our website. You can check us out here on YouTube, Facebook, and X, as well as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and TikTok at Football Addicts Anon. Thank you all for watching. We'll see y'all back on Tuesday.